Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Nerd Street Gamers Summer Championships, Hearthstone Brawl Land. I am DES Adam, alongside my good buddy Jay Fury.
What's up, Adam?
Well, we finally arrived. This is it, Grand Finals.
This is
and two players who are definitely no strangers to it. You saw them earlier on stream. It's Geobron versus Edelweiss. This is for all the marbles. And here we have, I believe, okay, so Geobron and Rogue is banned out. I believe Edelweiss did mention earlier today that is a common tactic of hers to ban that out. And Edelweiss's Paladin, the Control Paladin, has also been banned. So the thing with Edelweiss's lineup is a very, very, I think unique is pretty much an understatement. Like,
yeah, we've seen her come into this tournament today. She's got these super off-kilting decks that are really countering the meta right now just so beautifully. Like,
yeah, it's just how
left and right.
I mean, you only know her classes, so you don't know how to play around them.
Yeah. Yeah, you go into these matchups kind of thinking it's one way, and then you soon come to find out it's swinging the other way.
You got swerved.
Swerve.
All right. Anyway, so Gibron opening pretty strong. Does dodge a devolve from Edelweiss, netting a blood in, which is pretty good. A pretty good, not the worst devolve target. Definitely can both servers board, make it a lot harder for Edelweiss to clear things out. Edelweiss looking to play for the late game, so you'll see a lot of late game cards in hand. But some other interesting cards for this Goya Shaman deck. You'll see the Ancestral Spirit, which we saw earlier today.
Oh, and this is exactly what Edelweiss wants for, that nice turn 5 to be able to put that Earth Elemental down and represent a ton of damage and health on the board, really. And then to combo that up with the Ancestral Spirit is just nasty.
Edelweiss here is looking to play sort of a grinded out game.
Yeah.
Going to try to wear down all Geobron's resources, make it so that she can take it nice and slow, and then seize back the game once that's occurred.
So coming up turn 3, go ahead, got that Farsight.
Ooh, that's a free Lightning Storm. That will. Now the question is, do you run this out now?
Do you go for the roll now, or, that Manatide Totem? Do you really want that to stick around?
I mean, you don't, but you have no guaranteed way to clear it. You can low roll.
Yeah, you can low roll, but that face is going to guarantee it's dying.
Yeah, but then you're expending a lot of tempo. Not only that, you're borrowing mana from the following turn, so you're playing on 3 on turn 5,
and you're also going to be overloading yourself.
Yep.
And
you're going to be down a clause, and with no reasonable play in hand, I don't really think you can risk that right now.
I think it's a smart move. Just end turn and see what happens next. kind of play it chill. I mean, next turn you don't have overload, so you can just throw down that Earth Elemental.
Yeah. So you have to wait a turn to sit on Earth Elemental, but she's probably gonna wait until turn 7. That way she can guarantee the Ancestral Spirit.
So you would just Jade Lightning here?
Oh, man, I love this deck. You get to see great cards like this, like Ysera. Hello, old friend.
Beautiful thing to witness.
All right, so now Giobron continue to build a wide board. Doesn't have a ton of gas in hand. His hand's more reactive, actually. So, what do you do as Edelweiss here? Do you take the roll or on the totem and the lightning storm, or do you just kind of sit and chill? Maybe you could use the J Lightning to pluck out that Mana Tide totem, or the the Primal Fin totem. Either one would be acceptable targets.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a juicy turn here. She's got a lot of different options, a lot of different paths she can take. So, I mean, I feel like.
Okay, she's going for the goes for the roll and misses on the Mana Tide totem. Whoa,
yeah, this is good. This is good. Then you get to clear the Mana Tide.
Well, you get a little more tempo back, but you do lose your weapon, and you get and this is just going to get weaponed down by Giobron. Sea Giant the draw. So George is Giobron running the Sea Giant package. This deck is I believe a trend that started in the East on the Southeast Asia and Japan servers.
Yeah, I mean it's traditionally, I guess, very favored in the mirror matchup, but this isn't exactly the mirror matchup.
No. I mean, you still get a ton of value out of the Sea Giant. It's still a big thing that has to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's going to eat up some hexes.
Yeah, which is always good. I mean, next turn.
We might be looking at an evolve turn here, actually.
No.
Or he could continue to go wide, go wider. You're already you're putting a lot of pressure on.
Yep.
On the Shaman. So now coming to 7, I think we're probably gonna get the Earth Elemental play, or that makes things a little bit hard to us. But I think you still do the Earth Elemental just because it represents more damage and it can stick around post the initial clear and take out and deal with multiple minions.
And Giobron having the answer.
Right to the default. Into a 3-3.
3-3. And the concession.
She's thinking about it. Yeah, okay. So Edelweiss decides not to go on any further with that particular matchup. Takes it to see Giobron goes up a quick 1-0, winning
just
with
like
the
that.
Evolve Shaman. And now, I think that's actually not the worst when you're Giobron. You want to get in a comfortable spot, and that's probably the deck you're most comfortable with, like by leaps and bounds. So George is a shot.
Giobron is definitely known for his Shaman play, so being able to get that win has to feel amazing for him right now. I know that Edelweiss her stronger decks are just about anything, So
well, she's running a lot of off-meta picks, so I think her strength just lies in deck building.
Yeah, she's very innovative, and I just thought it was very creative for her to even, have that type of, will and I guess and fight in her.
So as we get into game 2, we're going to see Edelweiss queue up with the N'Zoth Control Warrior into Giobron's Pirate Warrior, and I believe I like to call it the Peppered Pirate Warrior. I did look at the list earlier. It is peppering a bunch of different options from other Pirate Warrior decks, including Bittertide Hydra, Spellbreaker, and Mortal Strike. So he does a lot of he goes a lot of one-ups, and he doesn't go all in on any of those particular items. As you see, he's picked up the Mortal Strike here. Oof.
And having 2 of those axes is going to be pretty dirty here, and the Whirlwind. Yeah,
so Edelweiss can play pretty reactively here. She's going to actually probably choose to develop the War Ice and Whirlwind here, clearing everything. Because you can walk into a turn where you have the you can either use your Stonehill Defender, or should a wide board arise again, you do have Ghoul as an option. Although I think we'll probably end up seeing.
Yeah, we'll probably just see Ghoul here.
Well, you probably see Ghoul here now with the development of the Frothing Berserker.
Yeah. So you attack first, right? Attack first.
Yeah. We're going to save some face damage here, and you can develop a 3/3.
Boom.
You lose your weapon charge, but you have another on deck.
So going into Geobron's turn 4, what's he looking to do? Is he want to upgrade first?
Okay, so
or?
let's see. So what are the lines here? So you can upgrade into your Corsair, although it gets plucked by the Ghoul in a trade. There is some merit to developing the weapon. I don't really think you can run out either of those minions. Those are pretty, without assuming them as a loss at this point. Yeah. So your options are either Mortal Strike the 3/3, which is a relatively weak tempo play.
Yeah.
Upgrade your weapon and then play a pirate, which will more than likely get swiftly dealt with by the 3/3 represented on Edelweiss's board.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's actually kind of the best line. You can fork up your Jet Corsair here. I would probably hold on to the captain.
Or what about just?
There's also upgrading, armoring up, and passing.
Upgrade and then just going face. I mean, you can't take care of that Ravaging Ghoul right now.
I mean, there really isn't like a strong play per se here.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best one. It does give him. I said it didn't give him a lot of tempo before. It actually does. Well, it gives him neutral tempo for the most part. You dealt with the one thing on board that was there. And Edelweiss actually now back kind of sort of somewhat in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
Can take her time now.
Yeah, valuing her armor, knowing that all she has to do is just kind of reserve her life a little bit, and she'll be okay.
Every turn you're healing up as the warrior is a turn that pirate warrior gets further and further away from ending the game.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, do you upgrade this here? And Geobron opts not to, probably saving it for a larger weapon layer to still have the two Arcanite Reapers in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, discovering a minion, looking at a Tar Lord's a pretty good one. That's going to be very, very difficult to deal with, and she does choose the Tar Lord. Armor's up for some health. That's going to represent quite an obstacle.
Yeah.
Not to mention going into next turn with the Direhorn run.
Spellbreaker, though.
That is the one in the deck. So the question is, do you Spellbreak the upcoming play, or do you hold it for something better?
You definitely don't Spellbreak the Stonehill Defender, or the 5. What is that? Oh, wow. Interesting.
Okay, so, I see the play. So we're going to whirlwind the board. And you can execute the 4/3, take out the other. You can get a full clear out of this.
Oh, okay.
Battle Rage could have netted some cards.
But no.
I think you're okay with that, though.
Yeah.
So one of these cards. So again, three very spell breakable targets in hand. But a follow play close behind.
Yeah, I mean, George Geobron isn't expecting a
Tar Lord.
A Tar Lord, and I'm sure he's thinking he needs to get that 4/3 on the board just for some type of board presence.
Well, natural reaction of the Tar Lord would be to silence it.
Oh yeah, I'm saying he's not gonna see that. I'm talking about for this turn right now.
Yeah.
He wants that. I think he wants that body on the board.
Well, you have to do something. You have to get some kind of tempo going.
Yeah.
He chooses to not upgrade again, so lose an attack on the.
So he's got some intel on.
Okay, I think that is actually the best thing to get if you're going to play into a possible Spellbreaker. The Curator will definitely at least net you some more value in your hand. One of which is the Primordial Drake, which is a pseudo blow. I don't want to say a pseudo blowout card, but it is a bit of a beating if you're the Pirate Warrior.
Yep. That card is just known to straight up shut down aggro.
The Epic of Epics.
That card and Tar Creeper.
So Geobron's still sitting on 2 upgrades. I don't know if you really want to burn both upgrades here, but I think he's thinking about it.
Yeah, because I mean, what do? You kill the Stonehill.
Yeah, and you still have 2 charges left. You basically have a War Axe sitting.
And then do you just play the Spellbreaker for tempo?
Okay, so he opts out of that. So I guess he is trying to save for some more value on his Reapers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with the development of Tar Lord, now even Spellbreaking the Tar Lord, you're still not getting very much mileage out of that.
Yeah,
that silence.
Because the problem is the Pirate Warrior isn't drawing cards fast enough to get through the health taunts of this.
Well, Pirate Warrior traditionally has no draw anyway.
Yeah, it's not. It's
so you're pretty much
nothing.
Yeah. So you're pretty much stuck with what you're getting. You're the one card you're seeing each turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you guess you can silence one taunt, but does that really represent anything? And I don't believe so in this case.
Yeah, unfortunately for Geobron, looks like
so choosing to upgrade the War Axe. That was the draw for the turn. Do you upgrade again, or?
We'll make it a 5/4.
Okay, so the Spellbreaker will come down. Probably to silence the Tarlord. Well, maybe not. I apologize for that. It's kind of like a fake out scenario here, the way that we're seeing the action. But a subsequent turn is still pretty strong for Edelweiss. Can develop a Direhorn run and net some cards from a 3-card Battle Rage, which is a pretty huge tempo swing. So right now, again, Edelweiss sitting semi-comfortably in the driver's seat, knows that Geobron's going to need a lot more resources to deal with this sort of board. Develops both the run and the Bloodhoof Brave. And right now, Edelweiss
sitting pretty
be in full command of the game.
Pretty cozy right now, just kind of chilling.
And Geobron knows it, so he's going to choose to opt out of that scenario. Edelweiss ties it up 1-1 with the N'Zoth Control Warrior. Now, once again, a very unique list.
Yeah, super unique coming in here, but that's exactly what she needs in that situation, to get those really healthy taunts right in place, stopping that aggro from pushing through and doing what it wants to do of hitting face.
Yeah, so what it came down to is, whereas the Pirate Warrior probably, in some circumstances can develop enough pressure to end the game pretty swiftly. In that case, it did not.
It did not, no. It didn't have that like super early aggressive nature that it normally has. And with Edelweiss's lineup, it's not like Taunt Warrior.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for that Pirate Warrior to punch through, because the rest of Edelweiss lineup is Elemental Rogue and the Goya Shaman.
Yeah, this is such an interesting.
So here we go. Elemental Rogue steps up to the plate.
Yeah.
Against the Freeze Mage, the hybridized Freeze Mage. And by hybridized, what that means is that it has the win conditions from both decks, both the Freeze Mage deck and the Guther or Control, Burn, Discover Mage deck, what have you, in Medivh and Antonidas. So very atypical setup. As we look into the player's hands, Edelweiss with an old friend of mine, Perdition's Blade in hand. That again, unique includes. We're as surprised as you folks are when you see these. All right, so Geobron counters with the development of the Arcanologist, netting him the Ice Block, a key card for the deck, obviously. For those of you who have not played Freeze Mage before, your goal is to just stay alive long enough to essentially burn out your opponent via spells and maybe some chip damage here and there. Elemental Rogue's more of a tempo deck, if I'm not mistaken. So that deck is going to look to basically control the board. The question is, how much pressure can this style of deck put on the Freeze Mage? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the fact that the Rogue doesn't have, does she play SI? I mean, not SI, Van Cleef. I think she does play Van Cleef.
I believe so, because you actually have a fair amount of low-cost means, because you're getting recouping value from Fireflies and Swashbucklers.
Okay.
You have lots of options, ways to make a big Van Cleef.
Okay. Yeah, because Elementals. Yeah, what we got here?
Let's take a look at the Geobron's Discover off the point. Kona Cole, push power from Inflame. So, I think Kona Cole is actually the choice there. That will preserve the most health.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Sliffy responds with an Igneous Elemental, a card that was in another Rogue deck, which has gone by the wayside. Our good friend, the Quest Rogue deck.
Mm-hmm.
But now seeing play in this Elemental Rogue deck. Fairly strong tempo card. Again, that's more Flame Elementals.
Ooh,
a nice top deck into the Tolvage Stone Shaper. And that will be relatively difficult for the Mage to deal with without the use of Doomsayer. And they see Geobron just amassing resources here, looking for, probably looking just to stall the game, survive as long as possible, to get to Alexstrasza, and that's enough points of burn to take down the Rogue, because the Rogue inherently has no healing. However, this Rogue runs a couple copies of Servant of Calamos. Servant of Calamos can net some healing, I believe.
And here it is.
And speaking of the devil.
So all you got to do is play that Firefly, get that elemental chain rolling.
Yeah, she has to get back on the chain again if she wants to hope to use the Servant of Calamos. Ooh. Mirror Entity, not the greatest secret, but draw a card is draw a card in this scenario.
I mean, and definitely against this freeze mage, you never pretty much ever want to play Mirror Entity because the odds of you getting a Doomsayer are really high, and you're actually wrecking yourself.
Well, it can be easily played around. When you're the mage, you can play any of your low drops to play around the prospect of a Mirror Entity. Now, when it's late in the game and you want to try to end the game, that can then become a free 9/9 or a free 7/7 or a free Antonitis, which is a significant tempo swing. NSGSC opting to use the Discover Cone of Cold to freeze up a couple of the minions to take out one of the Swashbucklers, also eliminating the Divine Shield from the Tolvir Stone Shaper. And that does represent the bulk of Edelweiss's current onboard damage. So, once again, Giobron playing to the longevity plan, not the reactive play plan so much. Right, develops the Ice Barrier, which again represents more health. All right, a Servant of Calamos to play. Ooh. What do you think here? What do you think about this?
Well, considering you're not really ramping up that much, I mean, probably you could just play on curve. But I don't know. I'd probably take the Tar Creeper here.
I think the Tar Creeper followed by Jade Spirit are probably the best choices here. Mm-hmm. Jade Spirit does result in slightly more tempo for the Rogue, and is now an elemental thanks to the recent patch that saw the nerf of Crystal Core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, considering you're not really ramping up in Jades, though, I feel like you might as well. Or you could just play on curve here with a Glacial Shard, though,
Well, I think a body is a body. I think you would sometimes you just take it.
Yeah.
But I still think Tar Creeper, with its 5 health back end, is still the strongest play here. It does play around most of the AoE of the mage.
Mm-hmm.
As we see a proc of the Ice Barrier by Edelweiss. What's going to have to happen sooner or later? Choosing sooner rather than later. All right.
This is probably just a nice and easy blizzard.
Ooh, so Polymorph is a tech choice that Giobron did make. He did mention it to me recently in a conversation why he takes the one Polymorph, and he says it is to deal with some of the larger like Doomsayers and other things like that. So it is for a Freeze Mage style matchup, mirror match. So rather than having to deal with large taunts, he uses it to expunge a Doomsayer, per se. See Edelweiss continuing to try to develop the board. So it's a bit of a hill to climb before you start chipping away at the mage's actual health.
And the Tar Creeper able to just really nicely fill out the mana curve with the Huckster last play. So I feel like that was definitely the best choice. Coming up on Giobron's turn 7, he's looking at a few plays here.
So the easy play is Firelance Portal to kill something. What is that something, though? You probably want to expunge the most damage with the Servant of Calamos, which Giobron does opt for.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a Leroy. Can actually kill a second minion and opt to kill the Tar Creeper here. And that's just and such is the beauty of the portal card. Sometimes you just roll it, and there is the Van Cleef, and we can see a monster Van Cleef. But
wow,
that would play into a polymorph. But I don't believe Edelweiss knows that is a possibility, because I believe in their last match, a polymorph did not get played.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you go ham on the Van Cleef, not knowing a polymorph is behind that line?
Yeah, I'm sure you probably don't go nuts here, but I don't know. You got to play Van Cleef eventually. So you probably do just
so
Perdition Blade. And
using the Perdition Blade to chip away a bit.
Yeah, like this. And then just dropping Van Cleef after here.
Yeah, it's still, I mean, presumably it still will be polymorphed.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to get a better Van Cleef turn than that unless you get extremely greedy. And at this point, I don't think you can afford to be super greedy for Medivh to draw. So there is one of the win cons of the hybridized Freeze Mage deck. So Medivh, who nets the 1/3 Atiya Staff, which is a weapon that allows you to get a random minion when you cast a spell off the same cost at the expense of a durability. So essentially, summoning stone on a stick. So let's see. A polymorph is probably almost a certainty. The question is, how do you fill out the rest of your mana? And I think, I think you can afford to take away a little bit of her tempo by burning away that the Tolver Stoneworn with the Medivh, Stone Shaper with the Medivh's Valet. Because normally that 3 points of burn would represent face damage. But in this case, I think you're okay with taking that card away. Now up to Giobron to decide if he wants to go for some additional burn. But I think he's just going to use Fire Blast down that sheep. And he does.
Sounds reasonable.
It's extremely reasonable. I don't think you want to spend your points of burn until you know you can seize the kill.
So looking at this board right here in the cards, Edelweiss is literally off lethal by 1 point of damage.
Yeah, we are 1 point away from lethal. But I think you can develop the entity and still be safe. Like, he gets super punished if he plays the Medivh.
Yeah, Medivh. Yeah, this is actually a huge... This is like the perfect time to play Mirror, which is very interesting.
Yeah, so she was very, very cautious with that secret, and I believe, barring a draw of another minion, she could be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And the question is, do you put any of this damage on to the mage, or do you hold back? So she's gonna opt. So Edelweiss will opt to put on 6 additional damage. Put the mage to 1. So you can pop the mage. When you do pop the mage next turn, you can pop them exactly at 1, and make this extremely difficult uphill climb for the mage. Because now you can really no longer use Alexstrasza to end the game.
Glyph.
Ooh, Blizzard will definitely help. But you still need to develop an ice block. So the problem is you can't do Blizzard now. You have to do the... Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, I think he realizes you cannot... Oh, you can do the downcosted Blizzard into the ice block.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, you could do the downcosted Blizzard into an ice block. I think the ice block...
No, you already have ice block.
Oh, you have ice block down, yeah. So you could do Blizzard now, potentially burn her last weapon charge, and then develop a new one next turn with a Blizzard behind it. Then you should be okay.
I think you go with the more expensive Blizzard though for your.
Here, I think so, because you're not going to really be using your. You're not going to be saturating your mana this turn, so you may as well use as much of it as you can. But Giobron opts for the reduced cost one, and he's okay. So he's actually going to stave off lethal in 2 directions. So. Let's see. Ooh, a fireball does represent. I think you actually could fire. Yeah, I think Edelweiss is going to fireball. Knows that she's still even with the frozen hero, can still potentially end the game with simply a dagger mastery.
The second ice block though.
It has to be played now.
Yeah.
Ooh, Alexstrasza the draw. So let's see.
Do you just Alex your face?
Not here.
Well,
maybe.
Though. You might, though.
I think you might, because what she's got doesn't represent a whole lot.
Right.
So that's actually, I think that might be the stronger play than developing the ice block, on account of, if you were going to do Alexstrasza at any time, it's going to be now. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, you surrender an Alexstrasza to Edelweiss. So this is an extremely risky play. But I think you just have to do it anyway.
And as you can see, it's exactly what Giobron's thinking about right
Edelweiss
now.
actually does not still 1 point off lethal. So looking to draw, a draw of a second eviscerate could do the deed. I don't believe there's any other means. Well, possibly a Blaze Caller too. I think this deck runs Blaze Callers. Ooh, Shadowcaster. That's a play.
Yes.
So, is there a world where you Shadowcaster the Alexstrasza preemptively? I think probably no. But is there a world where you trade with his Alexstrasza? And I think the answer is still no.
Yeah, I think you got to take all this to face. I think you just Shadowcast up and...
Yeah, I think right now, essentially, you have to pressure. You have to be the one controlling the pace of the game. You are the one with tempo, which is exactly what this is.
Yep.
So the question is, what are you Shadowcasting? And you're
definitely Alex.
The Alex, yeah. I think you do it anyway. In the event that she dips you low, or Giobran dips otherwise low, she can recover with a 1-mana Alexstrasza to heal you for the end, which is
pretty ridiculous.
The most healing for mana I think I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, with a minion on top. I mean, you think about prayer healing.
Well, it's a 1/1 minion.
Yeah, it's a 1/8/8. That's
no, it's not an 8/8. It's a 1/1 copy. 1/1 copy of the Alexstrasza. All right, so we're just going to seal up the board here, prolonging the game for a couple more turns. Ooh, Tarkreeper's a nice draw. That's a really nice draw. Okay, I think you actually, I think you're okay with just like starting to work down the mage. You do have to start moving toward popping that second block. Even if it is barrier, I think you still have to. There's still a world where you have to proc the secret.
Right. Yeah, you gotta start chipping away, just using your hero power, getting that weapon rolling.
Yeah, Dagger Mastery is going to be one of those ones to do it. You constantly have access to 2 damage for 2 mana.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, when does Giobran feel like he's going to get value from this Medivh?
I think you just have to kind of go in now if you're going to do it.
He
does have a Frost Nova Doomsayer combination.
Yeah.
So that can potentially expose Edelweiss. However, it would surrender his main source of damage. So that's a tough decision because it does result in the follow play of Medivh. However,
he's going Fireball.
Okay.
He's just going.
I think you start trying to push down the rogue, but you have to freeze the board here. I don't believe Doomsayer is gonna be a thing. But let's see.
And keeps the Frostbolt in hand.
So he could... Ooh, another Shadowcaster, so he can get another Alexstrasza. Wow. It's the Undying Rogue. That was supposed to happen next expansion.
This is insane.
When Shadowcaster hits, it hits, man.
This is insane.
So you can copy either of those and still get the 1/1 for 1 Alexstrasza. Question is... What are your outs for Gion? So Power Blast, obvious out. Fireball, another out.
Yeah, I mean,
you're sitting pretty. You're on an ice block. So, even if you can't finish it in one turn, if you draw another source of burn, actually any of his remaining sources of burn should do it.
Does Giobran run a second or an ice barrier?
He does. Giobran with the draw. The draw here is a Firelance Portal.
Oh, enough.
That is.
Is that enough? Yes, it is. It is.
It is enough with the Frostbolt, and that is going to close out game number 3 for Giobran, sitting on match point with just the Warrior remaining.
And a very impressive showing. We got the mood lighting up in here. It's lit. We up at the finals, y'all.
It is late in the evening. We are here with you through the night shift. We'll stay with us if we stay with you.
Thanks for rocking out with us here at the Brotherly Brawl. We got the big stakes with the big takes and the big shakes all around. It's going down here. Where are we at? We're in Aston?
Aston, PA.
Aston, PA. The grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. The Brotherly Brawl grand finals.
Coming to game 4. So now, So now Giobron sitting on presumably an uphill battle against two decks that are strictly control-based to handle the Warrior in Goya Shaman and the Elemental Rogue, which we just saw. So Edelweiss going for the Elemental Shaman, which is presumably, on paper, a much better matchup.
And already looking at Edelweiss's hand with the double Volcano.
I don't know. Yeah, with this kind of amount of AoE,
look at all the AoE.
I don't know how Pirate Warrior stays in the game with that much AoE. It's going to be really difficult.
Like even the Earth Elemental by itself is just pretty disgusting.
But still, this is why you play the game, because it doesn't matter unless you draw the cards.
I mean, Giobron did not get that very explosive opening that Pirate Warrior usually gets. So
yeah, it's, upgrade on one feels kind of bad, man. Ooh, Drake Corsair has the draw. But I think he's actually out for the Frothing Berserker. This does play into Hex. The question is, is this Hex worthy?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think it probably is.
I think every time Mr. Ribbit is coming out.
All right, so Hex comes out to stymie the first Frothing Berserker. Subsequent draw of a South Sea Deckhand, and that's going to actually net quite a bit of damage. That's going to take 5 to the 5 damage from charging patches and the Deckhand. And an additional 1 from the weapon. With a Reaper on deck, you can afford that durability. And now
the full clear.
Okay, so you can still low roll on the South Sea Captain.
Everything is fine.
And everything's gone.
Everything is gone.
Just like that in an instant.
And the coin is still in Edelweiss's hand.
4 pirates shouted out, and were immediately silenced by a lightning storm.
Oh, man. Well, that feels bad, man.
Okay, so in the subsequent turn as Edelweiss, how do you continue to develop your game plan and keep pace with the Pirate Warriors' pressure?
Well, I think that when we're going to see the Earth Elemental come down with the Ancestral Spirit.
Well, not this turn. We're overloaded for 2.
Definitely not this turn, but I think that turn, once that arrives,
that is potentially turn 6, unless we use the coin here.
Oh.
You can use the coin here, and you can develop to Jade Lightning the 3/3 wedge. I think that's what Edelweiss is contemplating, and that is going to be the call here. Let's develop a 1/1. Which does represent something. Not a whole lot, but something.
Yep.
So the follow-up play could still be the Earth Elemental, and I think you're okay just waiting a turn. Okay, so now Giobron really starting to tighten the screws. Pressuring Edelweiss for 9 face damage with the Reaper on his last charge and developing a first mate.
So this is going
with the second one in hand, though Giobron looking a little gassed.
Does he have any Mortal Strikes?
He does have a Mortal Strike.
Okay.
So you see the development here of the Earth Elemental, which is completely okay. Because next time you can actually double Ancestral Spirit. So when she cracks, when the Earth Elemental is killed, begets 2 more.
Yes.
Ooh, and I think that's actually what's going to happen here.
My
now
goodness.
this is what we call in the dictionary of Hearthstone a power play. And this is as big a power play as you can get against Pirate Warrior.
Wow.
So now Giobron needs to find some way to get something going there, and that's going to be a card that unfortunately will probably not do it.
Ooh, the volcano. The volcano. You can go face it in the volcano.
The detriment. You are actually going to see a volcano, our first volcano lethal, I think ever. Well, you can't miss once. Oh, I think it might have missed the one time. Let's see. If I count it up, no, I think you just barely gets there. Oh, he didn't make. Okay, he had the mail support. Okay, cool. Okay, I got nervous. I thought we counted wrong.
Oh, and Edelweiss.
And Edelweiss takes it to the final game.
The final game.
The final game of finals finally has arrived.
We are here. It's 2-2. It's Liddy in the city.
A lot of cash up for grabs.
A lot of cash. What's first place getting? Like $700?
I think the prize pool is about $720. So first place gets 70% of that. So if my math's right, it's close to $500.
That's great, man. We could probably buy a lot of Hearthstone.
Yeah, we can go to Sizzler with that money.
We can go to Sizzler. Oh, I like that. I like the sound of that.
Once again, thanks for sticking with us all throughout the day. My name's DSM. Next to me is Jay Fury. We're coming to the penultimate game of the Summer Championships here at the presented by Nerd Street Gamers.
This is exciting, Adam.
We've seen
Rogue up against
Miracle Rogue up against. No, it's not Miracle. No, this is once again the Elemental Rogue of Edelweiss against the Pirate Warrior of Geobron. So this is actually a matchup that isn't 100% favor for either.
This is definitely a 50-50 right here, but Geobron does get the explosive start here.
I think it might be slightly favored for the Rogue, just on account of it's a tempo deck.
Yeah. Oh wow, perfect draw right there.
Just what you needed.
So, but do you save it one turn for a potential Van Cleef next turn?
I don't think you can really get. I mean, Van Cleef does represent something really good.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you go that crazy against Pirate Warrior.
It depends. You have to have the right read here, because the Pirate Warrior curving out is pretty scary.
Yeah.
But
going into turn
Van
2,
Cleef is much scarier.
Right. And going into turn 2, what are you really afraid of from the Pirate Warrior?
Well, probably a War Axe followed by a Captain would probably be the scariest things.
Right.
That would represent the most pressure. Alternatively, Bloodsail Corsair, the 2/3 for 2 that gets attack equal to your weapon's attack. That's a scary proposition also, even with the Rusty Hook.
Yeah, I've found in most of my games against Pirate Warrior, when I have coin and they do what they just did with the 1/1s, I find myself just killing the 1/1 exactly how Edelweiss did. Whether I'm mage, I'm pinging it. I'm always trying to just get rid of those pirates.
All right, so it doesn't exactly top in your curve, but it is top taking into pressure.
Yeah.
And that's just what you need here. Now the question is, I don't know if Edelweiss actually has Fan Knives in the deck, but she may be going in on. Oh.
I mean, this is still good.
This is still okay.
You've got the backstab. You'll probably establish the Huckster here and just kill off 2 minions.
Yes. Yes, you could do that. That's one line.
So what do you backstab a 2/1?
Yeah, I think you just have to save as much face damage as you can. Killing a 1/1 is better than killing a 2/1 for you. Still, the issue is curving with Geobron curving out into either a Bloodsail Cultist or a Southsea Captain is the worst case scenario for Edelweiss. She opts to take the 2 damage instead. It's a bit interesting, but I understand it. She's still, I think she's still trying to ride on a Van Cleef turn. Even a 4/4 Van Cleef can represent something. Geobron top deck into the Southsea Captain, representing a ton of pressure.
Yeah, this is the point in the game for Pirate Warrior where they can really choose whether they want to put their foot on the gas pedal. And I think this kind of might be that moment.
Well, I think you're always putting your foot on the gas pedal when you're Pirate Warrior.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing against Rogue.
With the texture.
Okay, so that's an interesting draw there. So that inner rage does represent the death of a 1 health minion.
Look at this. Look at this.
So it's actually going to represent the death of
the whole board.
And you're actually going to get a 6/6 Van Cleef out of this. Wow. Man, when Huckster came through in a big way there for Edelweiss. So now, tables have turned for the time being. However,
the tables have turned.
Only momentarily. Because Geobron can swiftly answer with a Heroic Strike and the use of the 1/1 minion to kill off the 6th and develop the 3/3. He's actually going to bypass it, believe it or not.
Going face.
I think that's pretty much your best option. Let's see.
Do you, I'm surprised you didn't Swashbuckler first.
Yeah. All right, well, the Mortal Strike does represent. Okay, you can get full clear here. But you are running into Hydra.
Yep.
You can deal with that, though.
Yep, you've got answers for Hydra.
Now you can deal with it easily.
You have Tolver for the taunts.
Yeah.
And, you're not really afraid of Hydra right now.
Should a Hydra be developed, it has to be dealt with. That still is, and in any case, in any circumstance for the Rogue, it does represent, you can still push 6 damage to face by killing it. If you use, so you can kill it with either the Ignis Elemental and a Mortal and the Van Cleef. You could even, in theory, you could. Maybe in some kind of world, you do have options that turn. You can Shadow Cast with the Van Cleef to get a 1/1 Van Cleef. Or you can play on your Elemental Chain with the Servant of Kalamos, potentially drawing some sort of large taunt or heal.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you need. So Giobron taking his time, considering the 2 rounds of play. There is, so it's either developing the Korkron and continuing to pressure, or in this case, developing the Bittertide Hydra, which is a risky proposition on a board like this. But I just believe at this point the foot's on the gas and it's not coming off.
And Tolver
Stillborn is a really nice draw. It will take her off the Elemental Chain. It also has the Fire Plume Phoenix in hand, which does represent some damage. So you could Fire Plume Phoenix, use your Van Cleef to kill the 8/8.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your Elemental Chain going.
Yeah, I do like that play.
But alternatively here, you can... I think what she might do is develop the Servant. Ooh, Osric is pretty nice. But I don't know.
Okay, check this out. Take the Fireflies. Okay. I was going to say, take the Fireflies, and then you can shadow cast your Van Cleef. Oh, okay, so you trade all that in. I see.
I'm saying a bunch of Fireflies makes a big Osric, but you can't have
Osric. Both. Yeah, this is sick, though, because you can still shadow cast if you want to.
All right, so I think here we're going to see the development of the Korkron Elite pushing forward to face with the armor up, because there's nothing really to trade with here. I mean, maybe there's a reason to push forward damage instead, and I think Giobron knows that is something he's doing. So Giobron throwing his chips in on the Heroic Strike, pushing Edelweiss to 7, but will be swiftly answered by a Divine Shielded Taunt and the elimination of the...
And that right there has got to be pretty backbreaking for George.
For Giobron, that is a pretty stiff blow to hit, but drawing the Moral Strike will help. That can allow him to go over the top. So in that case, if that's the case, then Edelweiss has to find a way to stabilize Giobron at 13 so that she can't be 4-mana Warrior Fireballed, or she has with her own Moral Strike, though, she has the ability to provide a bit of burst damage with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think here you still have to develop... Can you stabilize long enough by armoring up and not playing any minions? I think you still have to play the minion anyway, just to get some tempo going.
Yeah, I think you just have to play that minion, but I think you definitely keep the Mortal Strike, so you've got to just armor up here.
All right, so the play is that is the line that Giobron chooses to go with. Ooh, a Perdition's Blade is some more chip damage. Can poke away at that life total. But I think you can still just continue to develop your board. What are you looking for if you're Edelweiss here? Maybe a little bit more chip damage. You really need some burst damage.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So so actually going to go for a tempo based play. Still eliminating the threat. Let's see. So 3, 4. Okay, so we've got 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. She actually has lethal in hand with the Moral Strike right now. So Edelweiss should be able to close that out as long as she sees the lethal there.
Yes. She probably sees the lines, and Giobron probably does too.
With this, well, I think you actually kind of have to use the Moral Strike reactivate. You have to kill something. So I will stave off lethal, I believe. Well, let's see. So if you kill the 4, you take the largest thing off the board with the Moral Strike. That's 4 damage, leaving you with 3, 6, 8, 14. So you're still 14.
And that's it.
16. So you'll be at 2.
This is it.
This could be it, though. And I think Edelweiss knows she can set up a 2-turn. But I think the question is, I think you actually set up a 2-turn, but you don't do it.
Oh wait, no, that's lethal.
Let me see. So 6 to face is 12.
Yeah,
Let's
with
see.
the Perdition's Blade.
With the Perdition's Blade, I think that's it. Yeah.
That's lethal.
Oh, it is lethal. Oh wow, I miscounted. And Edelweiss is going to take the Summer Championships. 3-2 over Giobron, and an amazing
grand finals.
Amazing
Great display.
Set.
All tournament showing up.
Yeah, just good games all around today.
Wow.
And Edelweiss with the extremely unorthodox lineup, takes it from winner's side.
Who'd have thought that someone who would really bring their own kind of nice home-brewed crafted decks to the tournament like this with some really competitive players?
It just shows you the magic of Hearthstone, man. Yeah. Anything can happen. Anything does happen.
The magic of Hearthstone. We want to thank you guys again for joining us today, representing for the Brotherly Brawl. This has been an awesome day of gaming.
Yeah, we've had a great time hanging out with you.
Just being here.
I hope you had fun watching me at least.
Seriously, guys, this has been awesome. We're going to be holding more of these. Make sure you guys stay super tuned. Hopefully, we get an interview with some of the winners.
We're going to do a post-game interview. Okay, so we're going to get them on the couch. So I'm actually going to leave you. Once they come over, I'm going to have you to do the interviews.
All right.
So we're going to stay with you. So, we had a great time with y'all today.
Surely did. Yeah. Thanks, Adam, for holding it down, representing. Great job today.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's kind of crazy. Like, when I came in today, I'm like, I hadn't been really playing Hearthstone a lot. I'm like, all right, I took this lineup off Dr. G. Kaneki from DreamHack. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go better. I'm not gonna do better than O2 and top 4. Go figure that one out. But just short of that sweet moolah.
That's definitely something to be proud about going into the next tournament.
I'm definitely not disappointed. But
did a great job.
I'll definitely be back for the next tournament. And
that's right.
Sorry we didn't get to see you on cam.
Oh man, it's no worries, dude. No worries at all. I'll be in the next one.
Oh, yeah. Jay Fury. Jay Fury always.
I'm always here representing.
Has there been a tournament you haven't entered since we've been holding these?
I don't know.
You've been on a little streak.
Yeah. Been rolling them in. Been having some fun, chilling with you guys. Cold ones with the boys all day. We're going to get the winner of the summer tournament.
So right now we have the winner, Edelweiss, coming over to the couch for the post game. So I'm going to be signing out. I'm DSM. You can follow me at DS_AdamN.
Oh yeah.
No, you're gonna take my seat.
Mic check. All
right.
So the winner and champion. Going into this, I just got to say, I pretty much had you as a prediction for the winner today. So, I mean, just talk to your people. How do you feel after coming off a pretty crazy day of games of Hearthstone?
So this is the first really large prize pool tournament for Hearthstone that I've competed in, at least in person. I've tried online a bit, and I had a really impressionable experience with the first big tournament I participated in online. It was a good gaming tournament, and I was really nervous about playing my usual crazy stuff because that's not what people do in tournaments. So I did what everyone else does. I looked at what people were playing in tournaments. At the time, mid-range Hunter was a legitimate deck that was doing pretty well, and I just didn't really know how to play it. So it ended up costing me an early loss. And now, I've decided, for tournaments, I'm just going to play what I'm used to playing, these sort of crazy decks. I usually draw inspiration from big streamers like Savitz or Strife Crow, some of my favorites. But I always take a little adaptation. So my lineup this week, I didn't go full crazy. I had been doing some Murloc Warlock.
Oh man, let me tell you, her Murloc Warlock. She's the player that comes in here, Hunter, Murloc Warlock, crazy off the wall decks, and will still jam it down your throat. Well, it's insane. She's an awesome player. I mean, you guys saw it for yourself today. I don't think she left the hot seat.
I was pretty that much there for half my games.
She was pretty warm on that hot seat. It was she had it nice and warm. Someone needed to get her off, but no one was able to. The winner.
So I didn't want to go too out there, right? So I know that as soon as people see Warlock or Hunter, they're like, all right, something weird's going on here. So instead, I just played, classes people might expect, but not the decks they'd expect.
Definitely not.
It was, a Tempo N'Zoth Warrior. Control Paladin was the most normal of the one, but that got banned every round except the first round. And then Goya Shaman, which was one of my favorite decks that like nobody plays anymore because of the loss of Healing Wave. I think was a super huge hit. So normally Freeze Mage matchup was pretty decent because you would Healing Wave right after Alex and you're good to go. Now the only healing is Halazeel, so it's a little trickier. But still against these aggressive decks, with the exception of like running into a Devolve, my decks throw taunt after taunt in front of these decks, and so I think about half my wins today were against Pirate Warrior, which people say is untargetable, but my lineup disagrees, I think.
Shutting them down. Showing these pirates who's the boss.
And no Galactic Crawlers either.
No crawlers, right? Yeah, like no crazy like tech choices to really target these Pirate Warriors. I mean, like you had some like Goya. I mean, like some of your choices, I'm just like, what? You would never see these cards in these decks, but you pulled it off today.
Well, and I sometimes make these like high risk, high reward plays sometimes because I know that's just how you gotta spin it against the aggro decks. So anytime I'm like, I think it happened twice today. I'm on coin with Earth Elemental, and I have an Ancestral Spirit in hand. Like, I will do everything I can to make it possible to get those two together. And against something like Pirate Warrior, which has no Devolve to interrupt that, that can just be game over. They've got it like. I lucked out. No one had double Mortal Strike today. There were multiple times where double Mortal Strike would have been it.
Yeah, I feel like most of the Pirate Warriors brought like one inclusion. So, me being one of them. So, you were fine. Like, it looked good. Super solid play throughout.
Thank you.
Throughout.
I know. I always try and make note of my misplays, whether it is like queuing up the wrong deck when I totally could have expected what was coming, and ramming my Goya Shaman into a Freeze Mage feels bad, but and early on, I think the first round I like missed an opportunity for it to be a clean sweep and then got hit with exact damage by the Hunter. So I always try and keep track of my misplays, just try and I would say try and slow down, but in that last round, I was actually playing pretty fast.
I know. It's like you had your foot on the pedal that time. You definitely had your pedal.
Yeah.
I can't even speak right now. It's been such a long day. I'm sorry. Excuse me, but yes.
Yeah. It's a lot for me to take in too.
Dude, she's actually taking me out to dinner after this.
I would love to, but I think my wife would be all over my case.
We're going to Red Lobster, she said.
We'll postpone that to when I get back at the end of the month.
End of the month, she said. But yeah, we want to thank you so much. You have anything else you want to say to these guys? I mean, I'm sure they're like, you got fans? Any of these fans? Fans?
No, I don't
Hearthstone
think so.
fans?
I think not too many
Represent.
people know who
Just
I am.
all of you guys. Thanks for joining us. It's been awesome. I mean, I feel like we should have the man of the the hour here, Bill. I don't know where he's at officially, but if you guys any final remarks since you are the champion? Like, this is like your throne right now.
Yeah, I would say like, if you are getting into the competitive scene and you're unsure about your lineup,
talk to you.
Yeah, well, I would say just play to your strengths. Play what you're comfortable with, because ultimately, and I really learned this in Magic. When I played Magic the Gathering a while back, I played in Pro Tour qualifiers and Grand Prix. And yeah, one of my best finishes, like 8th at a Pro Tour qualifier, was with a deck that like I was torn between these two decks. One was like a very aggressive deck, and the other one was more of a combo deck. Okay. And I just I combined the two decks.
The hybrids.
I threw in 7 cards from the combo deck into the aggressive deck and just ran with it. And it
so that's interesting too, because there are a few players here that have tapped into Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see how you guys can transfer those skills from that game and play them out in Hearthstone. And it's been, clearly working out. We've got like some top legend players that are showing up today.
Yeah. Brian Kibler is one of my favorite streamers to watch.
Shout out to
I know
Kibbs.
him from Pro Tours in Magic the Gathering.
Awesome.
It's always funny to see when like the Magic experience actually holds us back on evaluating cards, because like in Magic, cards like Spike Ridge Steed are not great because the creature just gets killed before the enchantment hits.
Oh, snap.
And so you end up getting 2 for 1. But in Hearthstone, there isn't any of that. So.
And then we got like Gwent too, Gwent is out. I mean, I haven't really tapped into Gwent myself either, but Have you tapped into Gwent at all?
No, honestly, if I were to go back into another card game, it would be Magic,
Back to
but
Magic, yeah.
it's just so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And I had like a really strong community back in Cleveland, where I'm from, but here I don't have as many like people to play Magic with. So.
Shout out to Cleveland. Cleveland, we got a champion. Unfortunately, the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron.
They didn't bring it home.
They didn't do it,
this
but
year. I'm sad because people are going to say now that 1 year was a fluke.
Definitely not. No, I mean, they're going to be back again next year with the Warriors.
Yeah, well,
again.
I honestly hope it's not against the Warriors, just because like people are going to think the system's rigged.
Oh yeah, it is. The NBA, they just want to eat up the money. Kind of like this one over here. Cleveland, something about it. I don't know. They just taking money. You know what I'm saying? That's why she's taking me to dinner.
We do what we can.
Let's go. We got these all-star players here. So what do you think your next step from here is?
So I have a jewelry business, actually, Recollection Studios. It keeps me traveling, so I'm going to be at Wizard World Columbus selling my jewelry. I've got a lot of gaming-themed stuff. I laser etch onto these colored scales, like, the kind of scales you'd see in like Dragon Scale for armor.
It's very nice stuff, guys.
And
Check
I
it
make
out.
them in pendants or keychains or guitar picks, whatever. I've got some Hearthstone stuff. I've got other Blizzard Entertainment, all the Overwatch characters, tons of other popular games, anime, you name it. I'm always trying to add to my repertoire, and I take custom orders all the time.
So pretty much anything you want to get on a pendant, you need to just holler at.
As long as it's not like too complicated a design that it doesn't shrink down well. Like I try to do the Forsaken symbol from World of Warcraft, and there's too many lines going on. It doesn't work.
All right, so nothing too complex. Don't get all fancy.
Yeah.
Like, can you get Mount Rushmore on my pendant? Like,
a typical logo that you would see in black and white.
Then we good. Then you're good. You'll be hooked up. Definitely something to check out for, because they're going to be sold out, especially after you winning this.
I hope so. It has been my best-selling product at the previous conventions. I also make like chainmail bracelets and dice bags and stuff.
So she's got a little bit of everything. And then,
But I'll be back at the end of the month, and I'm hoping that I can, like, do well enough with the business that eventually I can, maybe start streaming. I had one of my friends from art school make up a logo for me. My name, Edelweiss, actually comes from Valkyria Chronicles, which is a game and an anime. It's the name of the tank they use.
Okay.
And but then it's also like the flower Edelweiss. So I've got this tank shooting out instead of like regular ammunition. It's shooting out Edelweiss flowers.
Oh, it's like razor
It's
petals.
a cool image. So I'm excited to like put that to work.
Doing work.
Start up Twitch sometime soon once
I'm sure tons of fans and people in the Philadelphia community especially would definitely support that. Check out your stream. You clearly know what the heck you're doing. You clearly know how to sling the cards and hit the face very nicely, but also control and do what you do. So just awesome play throughout today. So I just want to congratulate you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud of myself for
I'm sorry I didn't get to play against you this time.
I know. It's fine though. I predicted this was going to happen. You were going to win. We'd be sitting right here.
Uh-huh.
I freaking primordial glyph this.
yeah.
Or no, I
that card's broken.
Did I discover it? I think I discovered that this was going to happen.
There you go.
This was good stuff.
See, I just hallucinated it.
She already knew she was going to win too, guys. So you got to have that confidence.
I went out to eat last night. I was so confident.
She was feeling good. She had her food last night. That's what it is. You got to have a good mindset when it comes to Hearthstone, right?
Yeah.
You got to I meditated this morning. No, I didn't. I didn't
have time for that. I think Matt Freyas and I both were running on like 3.5 hours of sleep.
Oh my God. He was saying he was up super late and they got up really early. We've been here all day. I think people are packing up. Everybody's trying to get out of here. We're still here talking with the champ. It's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Boom.
See you next time.
See you next time. We'll be at the next one, guys. So, till next time, holla at us. I don't know where Bill is, but I've been your boy. Holla at me on Instagram at Levon Dior. I think you see it right there. I always want to do that.
And you can follow my business at Recollection 216.
That's right, Recollection 216. Holla at him. Peace, y'all. It's been real. Much love.